every single day it feels like there's just this flood, this absolute torrent of news coming at us from everywhere. Phones, screens, everywhere.
Oh, absolutely. It's constant.
And it makes you wonder, how much of that are we really taking in? Like, beyond just the headline that scrolls past, do we actually grasp the core of the story?
That is the big question, isn't it? And it's actually what we're planning to dig into today.
Okay.
We're looking at a specific source. It's an assessment called News Comprehension, Listening and Note-Taking Assessment.
Right.
It's often used, to measure how people process critical information. So our mission really is to unpack what it actually means to be properly informed using the insights from these listening tasks. We want to see what skills are really being tested.
Okay, interesting. An assessment that tests news comprehension. So where do we start with this?
Well, it covers a few different things, but I think for today we should probably zoom in on one specific part, task 4. It's called listening to a news item.
Task 4. Okay, why that one?
Because I think it really gets at those hidden layers of understanding we were just talking about.
Okay.
So in this task, you listen to a news story. It's about something community related, usually. And it's short, only like maybe 90 seconds long.
A minute and a half. That's not much time.
No, it's quick. So you need sharp attention, definitely good note taking.
Right.
But the real challenge, the core of it, is pulling out the gist.
The gist. You mean like the main point?
Exactly. The essential meaning, the sort of central pulse of the story from all that information flying at you.
And how do they test if you've actually got that gist?
This is where it gets clever. After you listen, you get 5 questions, but they're presented as incomplete sentences.
Incomplete sentences?
Yeah. And you have to pick a phrase from a drop-down menu to finish each sentence correctly.
Okay, like multiple choice, but filling in a blank.
Sort of, but it's more sophisticated. It's not just about finding an answer that sounds okay. It's testing how well you understood the semantics and whether you can make it fit grammatically the syntax.
I see. So it's not just remembering facts.
Not at all. It forces you to go beyond just surface level listening. You have to actively synthesize, make sense of it all, so the sentence works in terms of both its structure and its meaning, according to the news story.
Wow, okay. That feels layered because you're juggling 2 things at once.
Precisely. That's the really smart part. There are 2 checks happening simultaneously. First, the completed sentence absolutely has to be grammatically sound. No awkward phrasing allowed.
Right, basic sentence structure.
That's your first hurdle. But then crucially, the meaning of that completed sentence must reflect what the news story was about. It has to match the gist.
So you could technically make a grammatically perfect sentence.
That completely misses the point of the story. Yeah.
Now that would be marked wrong.
Correct. You fail if the grammar's off or if the meaning is off. You need both. It reminds me, sometimes you see those clips online where someone tries to recount a news story and maybe they get the general idea right, but the details are totally mangled.
All the time.
This assessment is designed to catch exactly that kind of disconnect. Did you get the details and the overall meaning right?
So connecting this outwards then, what does it tell us about, being well-informed in general?
Well, I think it shows being well-informed isn't just this passive thing, like soaking up information. It's really an active process.
Active how?
It requires both that precision with the details, the grammatical accuracy check is a proxy for that in a way, and the ability to pull back and synthesize the main idea, the core message, the gist.
Right, detail and big picture.
Yes, and we often overlook that we need both. We talk about getting the facts straight or understanding the main point, but this assessment shows true comprehension means doing both, often simultaneously from the same input. It's testing 2 cognitive functions at once from one listening task.
So wrapping this up then, this deep dive really highlights that understanding news properly involves this critical interplay, doesn't it? Active listening, sure, maybe some good notes.
Definitely helps.
But also the skill of finding the core gist. And what's fascinating about this assessment is how it forces you to prove you have both the grammatical precision and that deeper content grasp. It's not just what you heard, but how accurately and how deeply you processed it.
Absolutely. And that leaves us with a thought, maybe for you, the listener.
Okay.
Think about how fast information flies at us today. News clips, social media sound bites, podcasts even. How often are we consciously checking ourselves on both levels? Are we catching the accurate details, ensuring we've grasped the real underlying gist? Or are we mostly just letting it wash over us?
passively listening versus actively comprehending on both levels.
Exactly. Are we demanding that dual level of understanding from ourselves consistently? In a world saturated with information, maybe that's a skill we need to cultivate more actively than ever.
A really important point to consider.